Hello and welcome to the 3inMidfield podcast, the podcast where three friends who had the dreams to be professional footballers dashed away as children when we all discovered food have their say on the Premier League. It is the transfer deadline day roundup or transfer roundup, whatever you want to call it. We have a stacked podcast, as we always do. It seems Coach always does his job right. Ever-present Coach. Coach, how you doing, sir?
I'm feeling good, man. How you doing?
Not too bad. It's nice that you're wearing a shirt this time. I'm very happy with that.
Can you leave me and my robe alone? Yeah.
No, I won't leave it.
Leave
No.
it alone. What did Darcy call me? OnlyFans Kojo. That's
OnlyFans Kojo.
Respect that name.
OnlyFans Kojo. Mr. Darren T. Back again. How you doing, man?
Yep, I am well, thank you. Thanks for having me on once again. It's been a hot minute.
Has been indeed another hot minute. Stanley joins us, I think, for the second time, or maybe third. I think second.
I think it's like the third or fourth time.
Oh, third. Ah, cool. Yeah. You've been to the house like twice. Yep. So this is the third time. How you doing, man?
I'm good, man. Blessed.
Excellent. And the honorary member of 3inMidfield, Basil, joins us again. How you doing, man?
I'm all right. I'm just upset that the international break is over because we know
we got a breather in it. We got a breather.
We got a little breather because we were getting panned left, right, and centre before it came. So yeah.
So in terms of fans, it's 2-2-1. So 2 United, 2 Arsenal, 1 Tottenham. Sad to say, but there is a Tottenham fan in the building. But I say we start with Manchester United. No. Or should we start? Let's take that back. Let's start with the team that's on top of the table. Let's start with Tottenham, Mr. Darren T. How did your transfer window fare? How did you see it?
Wait, just before we start, Darren, are you going to make the same prediction that you made last season?
Oh, man started already, you know. No, I am not. No, I am not.
He's calmed down. He's learned from his mistakes.
I thought I'd sailed off into the sunset and gotten away with that, but it looks like he's rearing his ugly head again today. However, I hold my hands up. I said what I said. I always stand by what I said. I was gassed last year, and I don't care. This street, open business. But this season, I had no expectations. I will say this: I had no expectations, none. After December, because I said what I said in November, and then Mourinho must have heard, and then just totally crashed our show, from December right down. When he got sacked, you got Ryan Mason in, waiting for a new manager. I just thought I got no expectations. I didn't know who was coming in. When Conte came, when the Conte news came in, right? I was gassed. That was when I was like, oh my gosh, we could be on the verge of something big here. Then that crashed, and I wanted to cry. I'm not actually gonna lie. I almost had a tear in my eye because we didn't get Conte. I wanted him so badly. I wanted him for years at Tottenham. And you know what? I just detached myself from Tottenham for the whole of the Euros until the end summer transfer window. Nuno came in. I didn't really want him at the beginning, but to be honest with you, I'm back. I said get behind him, and I back him, and I quite like him now. To be honest with you, because I think he really, he's got a work ethic, and he wants to work for this club, and he wants to do great things with this club. And at the end of the day, you can't argue about that. We're a work in progress. We still need to build. Transfer window wise, Paratici's done some good work. Promising youngsters, Galini, Brian Gill, Romero's quite the coup from what I'm hearing. I haven't watched Spanish football for a minute, so or Italian football. So Romero seems to be quite the coup. I just think we missed the trick with another striker, without buying another striker, and I'd like to have seen a really creative mid, because we've never really replaced Christian Eriksen. But yeah. I think you know what will happen. I think it's just Rome wasn't built in a day, so you can only do so much. The transfers are complicated and they're very, very long and drawn out. And to get the work done that they got done wasn't too bad, in my opinion. That sounded like some OnlyFans jingle. Is that your OnlyFans jingle, Coach?
Coach got a new subscriber in. That's
what... yeah. So yeah, it wasn't the worst transfer window. I'm not mad because I think there's still work to do and they know it. So as long as that's happening, I really haven't had. Like I said, I've got no expectations for the season. I'd like to finish in a European spot. I'd like to. We got to go for that Europa Conference League. That's there for the taking, as far as I'm concerned. Right? I don't know why you're laughing.
Wait, quick question. I know nothing about. What do you gain from winning the Europa Conference League? Like, what is the
Nothing.
benefit of it? Nothing.
Nothing, no.
No, it's just a Europa. By the way, Big Ron, whoever you are, you're a pagan. But anyway, so, yeah, let's not do this here. If you're here for the niceties, yeah, it's not that today. It's not that today. I'm here for the war. If you want it, you can get it. But anyway, so yeah, you do. But you know what it is? It's just we need to instill that winning mentality in our club. That's what it is. That's what it boils down to. And it's another European trophy, another recognized UEFA European trophy, which puts us one more European trophy above Arsenal. And I'll take that all day long. Yes, it does.
It will put you one above us. We won the prelude to the Europa League. So the UEFA Cup. So it doesn't matter, innit? We got the same amount of championship European trophies as you do. Don't worry about it.
No, we're one above, if not two.
Big man, check FM in it. FM doesn't lie. When it comes to trophies, I've checked. It says when next to Arsenal, it says one European European Cup. That's what it
won
says.
At least two. Okay.
Okay.
At least two. All right. So we're above you in Europe. So please don't talk the Europe talk to me, please.
All right, that's fine.
Thank you.
Yep.
Yeah.
How was the final, by the way?
How many goals has Tottenham scored in Champions League final?
Oh, what? One less than you, I suppose. 6.
There we go.
We played a better Barcelona team as well, but it is what it is. Anyway, let's get focused. See, Big Ron stole the joke. You did say Rome wasn't built in a day,
when that happened.
But when was Tottenham ever built? When did construction begin? Because that hasn't happened. But let's get focused back onto the transfer window. As you mentioned, Brian Hill, Emerson Royale, Pepe Sarr, Pierluigi Golini as a goalkeeper. If his name is Luigi, got any sort of Luigi in it, he's going to be good. Christian Romero as well, all bought in. Alfie Whiteman, is that a loan out? That's a loan out. Yeah. Okay, so out is Whiteman, Ryan Sessegnon on loan, Johan Foyth, and Gazaniga. Not bad. It's very similar to Arsenal's in terms of building for the future. Apart from Golini, everybody who's bought was under 23 years of age. But Golini is a goalkeeper at 26 as well. I imagine he's going to be backup.
Oh, and then the only outs. No, Toby went. Toby went.
Of course, yeah. Alderweireld,
Alderweireld, and I had a list, and
Alderweireld, Sissoko, Joe Hart, Danny. There's a lot of players. Lamella, Serge Aurier, Gareth Bale went back. Vinicius went back. Vinicius was 26. Yikes. Okay. And Pepe Sarr went.
Vinicius the striker.
Vinicius the striker from PSV.
He was young. I thought he was young, to be honest with you.
Yeah, he's finished.
I think Tottenham done well in the transfer market. If I'm being honest.
Let's go for that. Why'd you say that?
And the reason why I say it is because obviously not comparing them to the other London club. I think what they've done is that they've identified the areas that needed strengthening. Obviously, a lot of it's potential. But I think what they've done is they started off and realized we need another centre back, we need another right back. Let's go and get that. We need another sort of creative wide man who can also operate as a 10. They brought that in Gill. Obviously, still a work in process. I think the only disappointing thing, as Darren mentioned, is that they didn't get a striker. But then I think they've done well in terms of offloading a few players. But I think they've identified this is the areas where we need strength, and they've gone out and bought there. So I think what they've done is that they've understood their priorities and gone out to rectify that. Obviously, they don't really see buying a backup striker to Kane as a priority, which is a bit surprising. But I guess for them, it's just, put our eggs in Kane being fit all season and worry about the other areas. And I think similar to what Darren is saying, I think they're just taking it bit by bit in phases. So I think this summer transfer, they made a few signings. Hopefully they gel well together. And then maybe come next season or come the next summer transfer, they may start to identify the other areas, maybe buy another striker and maybe other areas in midfield. I guess for them, they're probably just working within whatever budget that they have. And they decided within our budget, this is what we're going to buy this season. And then maybe next season, we can do better. I think bringing in the new technical director, he seems to know what he's doing, just by who he's brought in and the way he's negotiated those deals. And like I said, it's about having the right man in place, not bringing in interns such as Edu, who has no clue what he's doing.
Wait, just focus on Tottenham, please. Don't worry.
The emotions are pouring out already.
I think Tottenham will challenge maybe for a top 4. They may, looking at how the teams such as United, Chelsea, City, and Liverpool have started, they may probably just finish around 5th or 6th, only because obviously those teams have a bit more experience. But I think they're building for the future, and it looks like they're heading in the right direction. As much as it pains me to say it,
it's clear direction and focus at last. Long may it continue. I think I like what Paratici, like Basil said, I like what Paratici's doing. I say the one thing that upset me in the transfer window is that we missed out on Adama Traore. So for all of you that flog me on Twitter about this guy, right? I don't care. This guy will come to Tottenham and get to work, right? I want him at my club. I don't care what anybody has to say, right? He's at Wolves. He's creating loads of chances. Huh?
Sorry, Stanley, why's your face?
I can see my face.
Darren, what's the difference between what you would get from him and what you've got from Mora? Because Mora
Adama gets in behind a lot more than Mora.
He does.
He's not a headless chicken like Mora. He doesn't run in. He's so difficult. Have you seen the way? Do you see the way he cooked us the other day? And he cooked United as well.
And what was the scores in those games?
Yeah, but that's the thing is, it's not his fault.
Sorry, I mean, if his final third, if his product at
sorry, Dan, can I ask you a question? Last season, right? How many goals did Traore score?
I think he got 1 or 2.
Oh.
No, hear me out. No, hear me out. Yeah, keep your eyes, you know what I mean? Right? At the end of the day, right, who is he supplying? Who is he supplying if he goes to Spurs? Kane. He's supplying Son. He's supplying Dele, who gets goals, right? Yes, he needs to get more goals, but at the same time, right, he can work with players like Kane and he can work with players like Son, improve his finishing, and he can supply. I'm telling you, like he will cause problems. He causes problems already.
How much would you have paid for him though? Because they said they wanted 50 million, which I think is absolutely ludicrous.
Yeah,
ludicrous.
So how much?
50 million. Of course,
word of mouth, innit?
It depends on when. The thing is, it's obviously. I don't know how long his contract is for. That's why they're gonna charge. That's why they're gonna look 50 mil, right? I wouldn't go for more than 30, 35 for him. I'd go 30, 35 for him. I won't be mad about that.
The problem is, with Traore, is I believe from the halfway line up until the outside the opposition's box, he's a problem. After that, it's all a guess because the guy doesn't know what he's doing. I've seen this guy in games where he just bare tricks, and then just doesn't do nothing. Like, so I get what you're saying in terms of the potential, but in terms of what he's actually doing, I can't see him doing anything.
How often can we use the word potential for Adama Traore now? I mean, I feel like we've been saying potential for like the past 5-6 years.
Agreed.
He's got to be 24.
Yeah, must be like 24.
He's been around for a long while. But I agree with you, Stanley, with when it gets to the final third, when it gets to the opposition box, it doesn't come down to if he had someone to supply. His final ball just isn't good enough. So if the final ball isn't good enough, he's not going to supply anybody. So that's what he needs to work on. And if he came to Spurs under the coach of Nuno Espirito Santo, where he's spent the past 3 years, is he going to improve him? Considering that in the past 3 years he hasn't done. He had one season where he looked on fire. I think he scored like maybe 8 goals, and that's decent for a side at Wolves as well. But is 8 goals good enough for Spurs? I don't think it's going to be.
Well, we had Lamella for goodness knows how long we managed what.
True, but do you want to replace Lamella with Adama Traore?
Lucas Moura is okay, but Lucas Moura hasn't got. He needs more sort of footballing, more of a footballing brain. He needs to know when to release it. Yes, he banged the hat trick and he's legendary at Tottenham. Let's be real. He's going to go down in folklore at Spurs, but at the same time, At the same time,
That's not good, man. I'm sorry, that's not good. That's
In
not
it.
but it's at the same time, like he hasn't done enough for a player of his ability. When we're on the counter attack, when Tottenham on the counter attack, especially last season when we were under Mourinho, our counter attacking is slow. Our build up is slow. I've always said we need that injection of pace down the flanks, right? If you're noticing, Steven Bergwijn is getting down the flank and he's improving, right? He's quickening the pace. He's not so top heavy. He's looking leaner. He's looking sharper. Do you know what I mean? Like I think we need that down both flanks. And I just think I've always been I wouldn't say an Adama fan. I wouldn't say that. Yes, he does need to improve his output, but at the same time, you know, it's a man who hasn't even reached his physical peak. He can get better. He can get better, and he will be with better finishers because he has put things on a plate for the likes of Jimenez and what's the little Fabio Silva, such likes, and they fluffed them. Not only him, but Wolves in general aren't taking their chances. So for players who are taking their chances, I think he'll improve us. I do believe he'll improve us. I really do.
One final question on Spurs, then we must move on. Harry Kane was obviously the transfer saga that dominated Spurs transfer window, most of the British transfer window as well. Would he go? He decided to stay? One, are you happy that he stayed, keeping an unhappy player? Because it's clear that he is unhappy at Spurs now. Despite all the talk, all the PR that comes out after it, you know he's unhappy. You know he wants to move. Or is the 150 potential better? But it won't be 150 anymore. But it'd be like 120, which still isn't bad.
Right. At the end of the day, there's a few factors here. Number one, you signed a 6-year deal, right? You shouldn't have done that. That was you should flog your agent, whether it's your brother or whoever was before your brother. That's who you should be flogging.
Father and his brother, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, flog them in it. That's not our fault. That's not Tottenham's fault. It ain't Daniel Levy's fault. You signed a 6-year deal. If you wanted to be ambitious and move on to a bigger club, which you should have known that's what was going to happen at some point in your career, then you should have signed like a 3-year. Even a 4. You might have got squeezed out of a 4. But not a 6. I'd say 3 tops, actually. Not even a 4. 3. You should have just signed a 3-year and done, right? But you signed a 6-year deal, and that's what's happened to you. So you can't be mad because you put your signature on that contract. Number 2, Man City didn't offer enough money, so oh well.
Do you know? But here's the thing. I think he'll still be there come the season after. I think he's not leaving until he has 1 more year left in his contract. We know how Daniel Levy operates. He's just going to say, come next season if someone comes in for him, which will be highly unlikely, in my opinion, because I think by then other players will become available. He's just going to say, well, I'm just going to ride it out. You can leave the season after when I'm forced to sell you because I don't want to lose the money. Like Daniel Levy, like to change this guy's mind, unless you're going to offer the money he wants, you're not changing his mind. All you have to do is read Sir Alex Ferguson's book to see what he says about Daniel Levy and how difficult Daniel Levy is as a character when dealing with transfers. So I don't know what people are thinking or why people thought he was going to change his mind. I mean, all the pundits were all like doing their best advertisement to get Kane out of the club. I'm like, you're forgetting who runs that club and who's in charge of who goes and who doesn't.
Yep.
So
Exactly. So it is what it is, man. It is what it is.
Yeah. But I would say this. I think Kane definitely must be pissed because he's looking around and he's seen like all these guys make their moves, like the Ronaldos, the Messis, the Lukakus, the Sanchos. He's looking around and he's seen all of these guys make their moves. So all these clubs are trying to be ambitious. And he's just thinking, I wish that was me. He definitely must feel away.
And even to add to that, I feel like it's just the pace at which these deals got done must have spun Kane a million times over because it's like one moment you're dead, next moment you're here, and that's it. Game over. It's like,
the question is, did they sign 6-year deals? The answer is no.
that's true.
The answer is
It's
no.
a life lesson. It's a life lesson, bro. Why are you signing a 6-year deal for? It's a life lesson. No, next time you sign something else, you think very, very.
Harry, just start. If you're listening out there, Harry, I'll be your agent. If you do you understand? I'll get things done for you. You get what I'm saying? So I'm just gonna throw that out there, Harry. Real
but
talk.
you're gonna keep him there though.
Exactly. That's what I'm about to say.
Business is business at the end of the day.
How can you have an agent whose loyalty is like with the club you're trying to leave?
Agents
Right? Come on
fees.
now.
Agents fees. Sorry. Sorry, mate. Business is business, mate. But at the end of the day, he signed a 6-year deal and done. So, boy.
Yeah, true.
Fair enough. We must move on now to. I feel like the tasty discussion will be Arsenal. So we'll go to Manchester United now. Obviously, in terms of names, probably the biggest in England, Jadon Sancho, Rafa Varane. Obviously, there's a certain Portuguese player I'm missing. I can't remember his name though. Coach, you know who that is?
Yeah, Bebe.
Bebe. Fair enough. How do you think Bebe's going to do this season?
It's a comeback. He did well at Real Vallecano. Got the number 77 shirt, so I'm excited to see what he can do. You know, we didn't see him when we first signed him, but we saw him in La Liga now. So good player. I'm excited. You know, competition with Lingard on the right side. So yeah, can't wait to see him. Can't wait to see him in the Man United shirt.
Oh my god. Obviously we're talking.
Did you guys actually watch him this time?
I watched him the first time. I didn't know what the hell I was watching.
Wow. Okay, obviously, the player that we're talking about is Cristiano Ronaldo. I'm trying to get all the transfers up. He's not coming, not showing up. Here we go. Top arrivals, Varane. Oh, Tom Heaton came on a free transfer as well. But you've also got out some players. Daniel James has left. Brandon Williams has left on a loan, as well as Tuanzebe, Andres Pereira, and Pelestri. I don't know who that is.
Oh,
the Uruguayan kid.
Young kid.
So that's not a bad window, is it? I mean, what did you expect? Did you expect CR7 to ever come back to Manchester United?
No. Hell no. That one came out of the blue because not in any window that I think that Ronaldo will come back to Man United. I mean, over the years, I always heard these rumors here and there, but you knew it was never ever going to be taking place. The closest we ever came to a Ronaldo deal was when Alex Ferguson was leaving, and a certain Scotsman that he comes from the same country from effed up. So, other than that, it's been a long time. But now he's back. Look, we have to be happy with it. Number one, he's still a winner. Number two, he's still a great goal scorer. Number three, his mentality is still the highest. Number four, he still has that hunger to win, the same hunger that he had when he was younger in the game. So you cannot be upset or even annoyed with this deal. I understand United fans will talk about midfielders. Trust me, we still need to improve that central midfield area because there's certain disaster classes in that midfield. But the guy is just when Ronaldo's available, you don't not take a chance. That don't make sense. And especially because we've now signed him for the same fee we signed him from Sporting Lisbon. It's literally the same amount of money we spent for him.
Is it? That's crazy.
So we've essentially still kind of made a profit for the money we made at Real Madrid, and we were paying this off in 5 years. So we haven't paid everything up top. Juventus are getting like 2.5 million in a year. We've mugged them off essentially, you know, because they're that much entitled in the financial side of it. So yeah, I'm happy with him, man. He's home. He got the number 7 because what other number was he gonna wear? So yeah,
you bullied Cavani to take off the shirt. That's what I'm thinking.
Cavani,
not a great start to your Manchester United career.
So
Back again, and you're bullying your top striker. Come on now.
He said, I'll be happy to give it to this guy. And in my head, I'm like, you're changed. Don't do that. Don't do that. You know you want that shirt. Don't come and do that. But regardless, it's a good move, good transfer. I'm happy, man. So he better start against Newcastle. He won't because Ole is at the I don't want to finish it, Stanley.
I ain't finishing it. That guy, man.
That guy is your manager for the foreseeable future.
Look,
and you cannot complain about the transfer window. Rafa Varane, Jadon Sancho, CR7.
No.
Wonderful, no?
Yeah, no, for sure. I'm more happy with the outgoings because the people that you mentioned had to go, even if it was on loan. They're out the club, and good riddance. Don't come back. Maybe Brandon Williams, but that boy falls over too much, man.
Did you see his performance for Norwich?
Shambolic. Like, honestly,
find a home there. It's okay.
Yeah, just chill over there. But I was happy with the outgoings. Obviously the incomings, we needed a defender, we got that. Needed the right winger, got that. needed a CDM, didn't get that. I still think personally, Donny can play in that position better than Fred, because that guy Fred. So yeah, like that's basically what it is for me. I'm happy. I'm okay. What can you say? The boy is home. Do you know what I mean? And that's the main thing for me. I was screaming and shouting at the beginning of the day when I was hearing Man City, Man City, Man City. I was like, this guy can't go Man City. This is impossible. And then by the afternoon, like crying tears of joy, man. I cried. But you know, if you get an opportunity to get Ronaldo back, you go and get him, and that's what we did. So I'm happy with that, man.
Man City basically bamboozled you guys into signing Ronaldo.
But it's okay. I generally don't mind.
Yeah.
I don't
Let's
mind.
be honest. Sentiment is just taking over. To be honest, because you guys don't really need him. To be honest, I'm not too, because I think he'll get goals. I'll say this. I think he'll get goals, but you have to look at also his time at Juve. His performances, and that's the reason why a lot of Juve fans were happy that he was gone. It's going to be interesting to see what you get with Ronaldo, because it's true he did actually hinder Juventus a lot. If you actually watch the games in terms of from a tactical perspective and what the man, because obviously they were forced to play him because of the type of character he is. He's not the type of person who's going to be rotated. He's not the type of person who's going to sit on the bench, because you know the type of character he is, and you know what type of personality you're going to get from him when he's unhappy. And I watch certain Juventus games, and I'm like, he's kind of a hindrance, because from a tactical setup, they can't set up in the manner that they want to, which can make you a bit effective because of his style of play, in terms of his movement, in terms of the way he presses with the rest of the players. I'm not saying he's a wonderful player. He's still a wonderful player for his age, and actually was Juve's most productive player. But sometimes in certain games, maybe where they needed to pivot and change, he was kind of that hindrance, because, like I said, he doesn't have the legs in him to do some of the things that maybe a manager would have required for Juve to change things. I question whether that could still be the same case for United, just because of the manager you have. That's the thing. That's my worry.
Yeah, no, you're right. The only hindrance would be that man that's in charge of us, yeah. However, well, he's not in charge of me. But in terms of the players that we have, I think this is perfect for Ronaldo. Like, he ain't got to run much. We've got runners. We've got people that can get him the ball. All he has to do is just little short bursts of sprints, like here, there, and that's it. Do you know what I mean? Like at Juventus, it's different style of play, different set of players, the whole lot. But I think it's gonna work for him. But it all comes down to that guy that's in charge of Man United Football Club. What does he do? Like, how does he incorporate Ronaldo into the system? Like, how does he get the best out of Ronaldo? Like, that for me is what scares me, because if Ronaldo has a dead season, it's not going to be because of Ronaldo. In my opinion, it's going to be because of that guy that's in charge of us.
You know what is? Sorry, Baz.
Go on. Yeah,
the thing about Juventus for me is, the reason why I disagree so strongly with Juventus fans is because if you look at the overall setup of that team and where they've made transfers in the last couple of years, they've literally unbalanced their team year by year. They signed the same type of midfielder. They haven't got natural wingers, so Dybala will be in the middle. The next he'll be on the left or the right. Then he's central attacking midfielder. Then he's here there. So they have no sort of real structure. That's where Pirlo struggled. Obviously, he's inexperienced as a manager, isn't it? So they were going to struggle with his management anyway. But there was no real balance to that team. So apart from the back line, where Cuadrado's now a wing back apparently, or a fullback, whatever.
Yeah, it's a wing back now.
Formation they play. Apart from that, going forward, you can't play a midfield of Rabiot, Bentancur, and Aaron Ramsey. That's just gonna clash in so many different ways, because that's three of the same players, and it's kind of Ronaldo at times. I'm not gonna let him shy away from me. He had his shockers. That was due to tactical stuff as well. So I do agree with that. But more of the Juventus problem, and the reason why they can't really get to him, and it's the reason why they also lost to Empoli, despite bringing back their most successful manager in recent years in Allegri, is because that team is still very, very unbalanced. And that team still hasn't got a system that works for the players they've got at hand. So that's where my worry to Juventus is. Now, when it comes to United and Ronaldo, I still do worry, because we don't really
another subscriber.
Yeah. don't
Somebody turn the notifications off, please. Bloody hell.
please. We don't really create the clearest of chances for our strikers. But at the same time, the only reason why someone like Cavani gets chances is because he's the one that runs in all the time. Ronaldo is hungry for goals. So there'll be no reason, number one, for Ole to play Pogba deep. If he plays Pogba deep again, I'm going to slap him. Number two, when if you play Pogba, Bruno, Sancho behind Cristiano Ronaldo, that's creation galore for someone that's hungry for goals. You can play on the ground, you can play in the air, you can do whatever you want. This ain't Tony Martial. This is Cristiano Ronaldo.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Like, this is real game here. So we have no excuse not to create for him, because if we're real, United can make the right balance in that midfield. It's just certain men don't want to play certain men on the pitch in their positions when they should.
Yeah, because I don't want to see Pogba on the left anymore now that Ronaldo's here. I don't want to see that, man. Like, I don't want to see that. Like, if you want to get the best out of Ronaldo, yeah, if you want to see him score goals, and as a Man United fan, I want to see Pogba in the middle, like doing his thing with Bruno, and then having, I don't know, Scott McTominay or Donny van der Beek, like whatever. Do you know what I mean? This whole like putting Fred in the middle and then pushing Pogba to the left, I don't want to see that again. I don't want to see that again. Like,
I want to see it every week.
No, of course you want to see it. That is painful. Do you know what I mean? Like, okay, cool. Pogba had 4 assists first game of the season, great, but it's just masking everything, because you did it again against Southampton, and look what happened. We had nothing in the midfield, in the center. Pogba's out on the left. He can't come in because then, like what Mike's saying, the balance is all over the place. So I really do think that when Rashford comes back, you just put Rashford on the left, you have Sancho on the right, and then you have Pogba and Scott in the middle, and then you have Bruno's number 10, and then Cavani or Ronaldo up front. Sorted. That's it.
Sorry, can I just say something very quickly? The reason why Man United did sign Ronaldo is for commercial value. Commercial value. I guarantee that your social media following has gone up exponentially since you signed him.
Yeah, of course.
Right?
Yeah,
I guarantee that the sponsorships, the commercial partnerships will be through the roof. And this is the Glazers. This is the Glazers you have to thank for that. So you should be thanking the Glazers for that, because they knew what they knew. They sanctioned that deal immediately because they knew what it's going to bring to that club money wise. Like, it's not like it's not like you ain't got dough already, but to have a Ronaldo coming back, do you know what I mean? It's just purely like, it's great for the sentiment, it's great for the nostalgia, and it's great for the morale of the team and the morale of the fans in general. So it's in all, it's a good signing for those things. On the pitch, he will score goals, but I actually, with Basil a little bit, I wonder if he's going to hinder you a little bit because of the person he is, because of the character. You know, he's going to want to take the penalties. He'll probably take penalty duties from Bruno now, right? Because Bruno's his little man straight, yeah.
Good.
Right? He's going to take penalty duties from Bruno. He's going to, do you understand? Like, Cavani may not get in as much.
Free kicks. Ole has to stamp his mark on that, man. Honestly, someone has to stamp.
He ain't going to do that, man.
He's not. It's Ronaldo.
No,
Someone has to, man. Honestly, if I was a manager, I'm saying, mate, I'm sorry. Go watch your videos and look at your conversion rate. You're not taking no more free kicks.
Ole's not going to be. Ole can't chat to Ronaldo. Ole cannot chat to Ronaldo. Only Fergie's going to be able to get through to Ronaldo. Ole is just All Ole is, yeah. He's just like what mini me, Fergie mini me. Do you understand?
He's a mannequin.
Yeah. So he's not going to be able to say that. He hasn't got I don't think he's got the authority to say that. Like to Ronaldo, that's a fact. Right, so he's gonna just do what Ronaldo's gonna do what Ronaldo's gonna do. What you've got to be careful of is if it affects the morale of other players around him, because you've got other big personalities like Pogba, Cavani, you know, even.
Cavani's been small boyed already, so I don't think Cavani's got any.
Yeah, true that actually, true. But you've got, as Ronaldo and Pogba is an interesting one for me. How they're going to get along. They're either going to get along like a house on fire, or there's going to be a little bit of niggle there. But it's just, I don't know. It's just something we'll see.
I think Pogba and Ronaldo will be cool, man.
Yeah. I feel like a lot of this imagined tension is very much media driven. Every time that somebody of a big nature comes into Manchester United or plays with Paul Pogba,
But I'm
they're
not saying.
boys. Like look at. I think the closest example of what could have been imagined tensions was when Zlatan came, but Zlatan and Pogba got on like a house on fire. Maybe not Zlatan and Lukaku. That's a different story for a different day. But Pogba, and I think Pogba's calm with everybody. So I don't think he'll.
But the thing is, it's not even Pogba that I'm concerned about. It's Ronaldo, because he's gonna come and he's gonna be the king of that club now, and certain man ain't gonna have what he's gonna try and bring if he tries to bring it. You know what I mean? So it just depends. It really depends. I'm not saying I'm gonna like sort of back the media narrative, the media driven narrative against Pogba or anything like that. I'm just saying, you know. Will Ronaldo be right for Man United? I think only time will tell. At this juncture, yeah.
I mean, it's a massive transfer window for Manchester United. They finished second last season, I think 6 points off the top. Now that I thought, like I've mentioned this 3 weeks in a row now, but I'm going to keep going until the Manchester United fans change or have some cojones and back their boys. Manchester United are going to win the league title, right? Yes or no?
No way. Chelsea.
Absolutely not. With that midfield,
it's not about the midfield, man. It's like Manchester United are based off of individual performances. Quite simple. There's no tactical plan going into Ole's Manchester United side, but off a base of individual performances, they finished second last season with 6 points. They've added Ronaldo to that. They've added Rafa Varane to that. Why can't they go on to challenge for the Premier League title? And you can't. It's
challenge.
They should challenge.
They should challenge, but they're not winning.
You don't challenge, get out. You should challenge. There's no doubt about that. They should be top two. Man United should be top two. I expect them to be behind Chelsea, not third or fourth.
I like that confidence.
I agree.
Yes.
I agree.
I like that confidence.
I'm putting that pressure on United. Basil.
Now we've got another Darren T moment here.
You need to leave me alone, man.
This is what I'm saying. You have a transfer window where you sign Rafael Varane in your back line, so no one can now complain about Lindelof anymore. I don't want to hear that no more. You sign a right winger, which may not have been screwing for years since Nani or Valencia, if you want to go that far back. And you've got Cristiano Ronaldo, who is a goal scorer. Even in the Juventus side, I just criticized for their unbalanced sort of thing. He was still top scorer in La Liga. He was still slapping in goals. He's got 100 goals in 3 years in their club.
Syria, yeah.
In Syria, you have to apply that pressure now. If you do not have a title challenge and you're not second, or even if you're third, but you're like, you have to be
4 points or 5.
4 or 5 points off title. I don't want to hear 10, 11. If it's double digits again, certain men need to be sacked. That's as simple as it gets. You can't have this caliber of talent and do nothing with it. I'm sorry, that's just not acceptable. So that's the pressure this year.
Bigger on saying cup competitions, because Manchester United don't.
It has to be something solid, not
It can't be FA Cup. It can't be
chicken and chips, Leroy, KFC Cup. Not that.
Yeah, it can't be Carabao. It can't be FA Cup. Not with this side. It has to be either the Champions League or the Premier League. In my opinion.
Wait, whoa! That's a lot of pressure, my friend.
It's not pressure. It's not pressure. This Manchester United side has Cristiano Ronaldo, Jadon Sancho, Rafa Varane, David De Gea, Bruno Fernandes, Paul Pogba. These are all. I didn't even mention CR7 yet. These are all winners. Especially Varane.
They are, but the manager hasn't got.
Oh yeah,
no, but it's not about the manager anymore. Because Darren T, like I said,
I tell you, manager wise, right? Here's my point, right? Chelsea, right? Frank Lampard had pretty much that same side bar Lukaku, right? Like all over the gaff, completely all over the gaff. Thomas Tuchel comes in, look what happens. Yeah, they just improve so much. Now look at them; they're favourites of the title. They've won the Champions League. You understand? I think it's the same with Ole. Ole's got a ceiling, right? And I think he's pretty much reaching it now. I don't think he's not going to take United, but that much.
Second's not a bad ceiling. Second's not a bad ceiling. Like I feel like if
they're Man United, they want more than that.
They can get more, but I don't think it comes down to Ole. It's not the position that Manchester United have been in recently.
No. It is okay. Wait, let me ask you a question, KO. Yeah,
go on.
If Thomas Tuchel had this current Man United side. We win the league.
He'd win the league. I think
A
win
lot
the
of
league,
managers.
bro.
No, I understand where you're coming from, but Manchester United's whole ethos, their whole outlook in terms of attacking football, has come from individual brilliance. Ever since Ole's taken over, you've added exceptional brilliance, exceptional players to this team now. And Jadon Sancho, who's yet, I think he will do well. I don't think he will reach the heights that he did in the Bundesliga, but well enough to be supplying Cristiano Ronaldo. Yes, indeed. You had a CR7 and you had Rafa Varane. Why can't those three individual brilliant performers take this Manchester United team to the next level? If all your team's been based off of the past 5 years has been individual brilliance,
it vibes basically because there's no organization. Then
the reason why we haven't gone that one step further is because we've been hindered by a certain man on the touchline. That's the issue. But at the same time, I refuse to not give him expectation because he always had in his whole United career is no expectation. I don't want to hear it no more.
I think
win something.
Yeah, I think to also what you're saying, Kay, was that there was opportunities last season because Liverpool had the injury problems. Chelsea had Lampard for the first half of the season when they were very disorganised. It was City that was there. I don't think there was even any other team challenging. Well, Tottenham for a while before the Mourinho disaster class. So you can say last season there wasn't really any real competition for United in terms of second place. For most of the season, it was them and Leicester before Leicester absolutely slipped out. Whereas this season is a bit more difficult because obviously Chelsea had the manager, they made their signings, they're getting their act together. Liverpool have got their players back, they're getting their act together. Whoever I missed, obviously City is going to be there and thereabout. Obviously Tottenham have made signings. So I think this season would really tell us where Ole is and where he can go because now the competition is quite fierce. So, you can perform when there's not really that much competition, but when the competition now arrives, now we can tell what kind of a proper manager you are. And I think this season where Ole can really go.
How many years have we been saying that there's not proper? There's at the start of every season, like for the past few years, we've been saying there's some competition now. Everybody thought that Chelsea might go on and perform better than they did in the first half of last season. They didn't. Arsenal was always up there. Everybody thought that Arteta would take this team to the next level. Clearly didn't. Everybody thought Tottenham was back because of Mourinho. Everybody thought City was back. Liverpool could do the whole thing at this point in the season. So, but the simple fact of the matter is, Ole managed to guide his team to second based off of individual brilliance. Yeah, and how many points did they get last season? Like 83?
No, wait.
It was in the 80s, and that in previous seasons that has been a championship winning material.
I do think they were fortunate because of COVID, injuries.
Yeah, but how many seasons are based off of luck? Like Arsenal went invincible because we got the penalty against Portsmouth. That was luck. Manchester United, Arsenal finished top 4 over Spurs in the Premier League because of luck. Because you guys got food poisoning on the last day. But every season is based off of luck. So I don't understand where this argument's coming from.
I don't know. I wouldn't say that. I just think it was just a case of it just I don't know. The cookie crumbled right for United. Like I said, injuries and stuff like that. They had it together a little bit more than the rest. So they were fortunate to finish second. I just think they could have done more if there was somebody else at their home. Do you know what I mean? Like you've got no chance of winning the Champions League this season, even with all these players. Man United have no chance of winning the Champions League. They should by rights be getting bottom 4. I mean, last 4. But at the same time, what's so funny?
The way do you know what it is the way I see things, yeah. Brendan everyone except for Nuno.
Read the comments, Darren T. There's a story there. Don't put it up. Don't put it up. But
but guys, for me, yeah, every manager except obviously Nuno has a trophy to their name. Even Arteta has a trophy to his name. Like we forget that he won the FA Cup 2 seasons ago, 3 seasons ago, whenever. Ollie has nothing. Like how? Like we've been to a whole bunch of semi-finals, one final, and done nothing. Like no, like listen. So I get it. Like I'm with Mike. Like he's a useless manager, but expectations are expectations. So my friend, deliver us something. Do you know what I mean? And If you
I just
don't,
can't
then
see it.
bro, get out, man. Get out.
Well,
Like, to be honest,
right.
he should have got out 2 seasons ago. But fine, like, you're here still. But with all these players that you got, and you can't do anything, you can't even deliver us a small little FA Cup at least. Nah, get out.
Yeah, I mean,
My
here's the
final
thing.
comment.
Go on.
Sorry, I'll let you go down to you. Just my final comment is, by the way, if he doesn't make it out of the group stage or Champions League again, yeah,
Get him out, man.
Yeah, fair enough. Darren T, final
Yeah,
point.
it was the final. It's just like the thing is, you bought all these top class players. You bought all this, you got Ronaldo, Varane, Sancho, and such likes. But Ole's just not like that top class manager to handle this team. I'm not saying he's not a good manager. I'm not saying that at all. But if you look at it, you know what I mean. He's just not the top class manager to take you to that level that you want to get back to. So that's all I would say about that.
Fair enough. And we have to move on now to Arsenal.
Woo!
Exactly. Basil, you saw we tweeted out what we were doing transfer roundup, and the comment was straight after. We need to talk about the Edu interview. We will get to there in a moment. We have to talk about the signings for now. I don't know where my internet browser has gone. That just disappeared out of nowhere. But in terms of Arsenal transfers in, obviously we spent the most money in the entire Premier League, or probably I think world football, in terms of players bought. Ben White, Martin Odegaard, Aaron Ramsdale, Tomiyasu, Albert Sambi, Lokonga, Nuno Tavares as well. Outs, Joe Willock, Lucas Torreira, Willian gone. You can smile about that, Baz. You can smile about that. Matteo Guendouzi and William Saliba went on loan to Marseille. Reece Nelson on loan to Feyenoord. Hector Bellerin on loan to Betis. You got to smile about some things, Basil. Come on now.
Everything you just said is everything that is wrong with Arsenal. You can't sell our players. You have Hector Bellerin. Now, I've never really rated Hector Bellerin that highly, but in world football, he had ratings. People talk about him being like the next prospect or the next great right back, and we can't even sell him. Look at where he's gone on loan to. We have to send him on loan to Real Betis. That should tell you a lot. Torreira, we bought him for about 23, 26 million. We have to loan him out. We can't recoup any money back from him. I mean, Guendouzi, the fee that they're going to pay for Guendouzi, if they finalize that, there'll be something like 8 million euros. That's a joke for someone who's about 21, 22 years of age. So, that tells you a lot about Arsenal, that, these guys have no idea what they're doing. Chelsea sold a player to Crystal Palace for close to about 20 million, who didn't even make a single appearance for the club. That's a club that does proper business. Look at Chelsea's outgoings and how they're managing the players that they're moving on. And even the players that they can't sell straight away, they're putting them on new contracts, sending them out on loan, saying, prove yourself so we can sell you for a decent fee. That's how you run a business. Arsenal is shambolic. The fact that Willian has had to cancel his contract should tell you something about Arsenal. We signed a player for free and we couldn't get a fee for him. That is shambolic. That is absolutely shambolic. Edu has no idea what he's doing. The Arsenal board and those who are upstairs at Arsenal have no idea what they're doing. They have no direction in terms of how we get rid of players and no direction as to the players that they bring in. I can go on all day because those signings are underwhelming. I've heard people say, but look at the money they spent. It's not about the money you spend. It's about who you spend it on. It's about the quality you bring on. I don't really care how old these players. They could be 21, they could be 18, they could be 33 for all I care. Bring in the adequate quality to actually strengthen and improve the club. And that's where, when I see people trying to argue against, why are Arsenal fans upset about the transfer window? It's because we haven't brought in the adequate quality. Look at over the past decade, who have we really brought in that has been of good quality at Arsenal? The only person I can think of is Alexis Sanchez. He's the only one who gave us consistent performances over the period of time that he was there. The Ozil transfer didn't work out in the end. He looked bright, but in the end, tailored off in the end. But we're still paying part of his salary now that he's gone over to Fenerbahce. But apart from they're still paying part of his salary.
We did. I think it's done now, though. You did.
Yeah, it's probably finished now, but for last season, we're still paying part of his salary. Alexis Sanchez is probably the only player of any true quality that we brought in at the club over the last decade. We brought in some horrid players. and people expect us to be optimistic about who we brought in. It's diabolical. It's diabolical. That's
Sorry,
like a
comment. Sorry, man. Oh wow, that comment was a bit wild. There was no need for that.
I mean, you say there's no direction,
Oh,
but
I'm married to and Oba and Aubameyang's like
yeah,
those.
Oba, I'm about to say
Those
Oba.
are really like the only two players.
Yeah. I mean, you say there's no direction, but it's another project. That's Edu's promise. Last
It's
season
it's the same project we've done twice over.
last season. I'm saying, but last season it was let's buy a whole bunch of experience and let's see that we can. And with that experience, let's go to get to the Champions League and then potentially win it in 3 years. That's laughable. But now it's let's give us time. Let's invest in the youth. We've got a whole bunch of exciting players that might not be good straight away, but will be good in 2 or 3, 4 years. No, do you not agree?
He's having a laugh. He's having a laugh.
It's all
Absolutely having a
over
laugh.
the place, man.
Honestly, let me finish off from this. Is like we've gone through this youth project twice over, and it hasn't worked because what you get is you get one or two things. The better youth players, they look around and say, "This club isn't going anywhere. You're not bringing me the right players for me to challenge," and they leave. We've had that with Fabregas. We've had that with the likes of Samir Nasri. I mean, I remember when Nasri, his comments when he left, he said when Fabregas left, he went upstairs, they signed Jovino, and he said he went up to the board and asked him and said, "Oh, who are we replacing?" He said, "Oh, we're just signing Jovino." That was it. And he said that was the moment he said he needed to leave. And that tells you the direction of the club. All of those guys there, when we bought like all those British players, Kieran Gibbs, Ramsey, Wilshere, Oxlade-Chamberlain, look how many of them left. Oxlade-Chamberlain left because there was no direction in the club. He's like, I want to go to a club that look like they can challenge. And he's gone over to Liverpool. Yeah, he hasn't really performed because of injuries, but he's won things there. What you get is that the ones who aren't good enough stay at the club and just rinse the club for all the money that they can. And the ones which are good enough leave. So it's like you can't have a youth project unless the direction is we're going to challenge. Because in the end, the likes of Saka, the likes of Smith Rowe, even the likes of Odegaard, if he performs, when it comes to contract renewal, just going to say, I'm not renewing my contract. And in the end, we're going to sell them. So the project in itself doesn't work unless you've got the right quality within the squad to actually challenge. Because the better players are going to be ambitious and see, this is a place of no ambition and I'm going to leave.
Bro.
Go Stanley.
No, I'm just saying he broke that down to a T, like, and I could hear the pain in your voice, brother.
Listen.
I mean, from the outside looking in, though, let's go to you, Coach. Odegaard's not a bad player. The Lukonga's looking decent. Who else was there? Tomiyasu's decent as well. I've not seen much of him, but from what I've heard, he can play very well. He's 6'2" as well as a right back. That's going to help certain central defenders that are 6 foot, but I'll not mention him.
Taller than okay.
Yep. Lukonga is there. So is it as bad as people are proclaiming?
Yeah, because the thing with Arsenal, which I think a lot of fans don't seem to understand, is at the end of the day, you're still going to have many issues where you need to address. Now, the Ben White signing for me, without trying to single him out, but I still don't know what that signing was for, because he doesn't improve the things that Arsenal are bad at defensively in any situation. So I don't know what that signing does. Aerially, he's worse than every Arsenal defender that's already there. And then in terms of
are they bad?
Exactly. And in terms of ball playing, I mean, I don't want to hear he played with Graham Potter at Brighton. Lewis Dunk is not a ball player centre back, so just eliminate that theory right now. So, you know, when you're signing players, they have to fit the model perfectly. Now, Lokonga's a good player. I don't know which partner is best for him. That's another question for another day.
It's not Xhaka. That's guaranteed.
It might not be Xhaka. It could be Uncle Partey, but Partey is out there enjoying Yam Festival and still playing football.
Was he there?
Oh yeah, he was there. Yeah, live in the cup. With all his Ghanaian brothers, all of them not combing their hair. And then you've got Odegaard. Now, my issue with Odegaard is a talented footballer, but because he was part of your squad last year, even though it was a loan, the fact that he was there already and you haven't added someone extra on top means it's still kind of the same squad from last year anyway.
Yeah.
And then you signed Ramsdale. I'm really not going to go into that one. There's really
that was a wild signing.
There's no point in talking about that one. Me and Kale have said in enough podcasts how we feel about that deal and who they should have waited for. So this is where Arsenal fans will still have frustration, because when the season starts and you get these results again, you're gonna go back to the same areas of we should have done this and we should have done that, and then players that are starting well, and I don't want Lokonga to have a fall off, but if he is to have a fall off, eventually there'll be some Arsenal fans that start to get onto his case, and they'll be like, "What was he signed for? He's not good enough. We don't do this well." You got a big problem. There's too many players that still need to be replaced or phased out, and this is going to be a cycle until you have what I feel Arsenal need is one huge window. It's very rare in football, but you need a huge window where you get rid of like 9 players and you bring in 6 and just refresh everything.
Even Kojo, just to add to that, that doesn't even solve our problems, because
it doesn't. But it's the beginning.
But I don't even know if that even is the beginning of solving our problems. The reason why I say this is because you can get rid of players, but you need to have the idea as to who you're bringing in. Now, like I said, the reason why we're at this stage is because we brought in all of these players. So that even if you get rid of them, there's no guarantee that we're actually going to bring in players of the right quality at the club. We can just repeat the cycle again, where we bring in the same type of players at that same type of quality, and then we need to get rid of them 5-6 years later because they're not good enough. Which is why I think Arsenal are just in an endless cycle. And I think we're going to be, honestly, I think we're in a slippery curve over the next few years. I think we'll be battling relegation within the next 5 years, because the owner has no clue what he's doing. He has no clue as to who he's hiring underneath him. And then the guys underneath him are just incompetent. Like, think about it. It's only Arsenal that can have Edu doing that type of interview. No other club sanctions any of their employees to do that type of interview. It's only Arsenal. And that tells you a lot about where that club is right now.
You know what I want to add to that is so what Spurs have done well this summer, on top of the signings they've made, of course, but bringing in Paratisi was very important, because whether it's a sporting director or a technical director, and I'm going to bring up this from Marin here, what Spurs have allowed him to do is essentially have some sort of effect in the transfers, so that Spurs can do one of two things. They can grow with these players that they've signed, or they can make a lot more profit on these players they've signed. That's a good thing in the Premier League, because you can make a lot of money from Premier League players. So that's a smart business idea. And like I think Kel said it, all the players are 23 and younger, apart from the goalkeeper, Pierluigi Goloni. So that's a smart model. Now, Monchi from Sevilla, he's the sporting director. Obviously has a hand in transfers, this, that, and the other. If he comes and says, I'm not going, and I want to go back to Sevilla because there's no proper project planned in place, then you're already screwed. Because he's the one that's going to effectively help put your plans into action. If there is no planning there in the first place, his job becomes useless. So that's a big issue. If Edu is supposed to be this guy, with his lack of experience in this role, compared to a Monchi or Paratisi or whoever else you want to mention, this is not a good start. It's not a good start. And the signings, we're still talking about signings not making sense. Partey hasn't worked out. Partey's a good player. He's a good player, but he hasn't worked out either. So then, what is the plan? That's what I say.
Even Gabriel hasn't worked out. I think Gabriel has shown qualities, but the injuries has finished.
Yeah, I agree.
Saliba's another one which I don't know what's going on. We signed him for about 27 million. He's been on loan for the past 3 years. So, it doesn't make sense. Even when he's talking about youth project, well, you signed the youth and you haven't given him an opportunity. So what's going on there?
I mean, there was a whole bunch of youth players that he got rid of. Joe Willock had a great season last year for Newcastle, and he shipped him off.
Yeah, that's the only one where we got decent. Reece Nelson, we can't even get a fee for Reece Nelson.
Yeah, he's going for free as well next. He's not signing a new contract, so he's gone for free. But I think we should be keeping Joe Willock. Gondouzi got sent out on loan again. I don't know what, and the transfer fee is 8 to 11 million. That's what they have to pay in order to get his services. Ridiculous. Saliba has like 2 years left on his contract. This was a guy that was being touted for Real Madrid when Rafa Varane left, and we're saying that he's not good enough to play at Arsenal when we got Rob Holding and Callum Chambers and Pablo Mari at the helm. So Kolasinac as well is still there. I know you wanted. I was trying to avoid bringing him up, but he's still there. He's still there. And he's playing before William Saliba, so he can shout and
question.
Go on.
Sorry, I was going to ask just quickly, because obviously this is what I've been hearing from my Arsenal friends, that Arteta has an agenda against certain players.
He does.
Yeah, he's got bad man management. And
He's horrible, man. Yeah.
It's crazy to think that someone who's in their first job, you know, has burnt so many bridges, and especially even someone of his age. Because usually with the old experienced one, you can burn like Mourinho does all the time, but he's got all the experience and knowledge behind him. So he knows that I can do this and still be successful. But someone as young as Arteta, where even, you know, that in itself can be, you're already fighting a kind of a case, because when you're young, players don't always respect younger individuals. So you need to like work your way up and work that hurdle a bit. But then and also for it to be your first managerial job, or for you to burn so many bridges with so many players, I'm like, it's craziness, absolute craziness.
He buys in players that will respond to what he wants to do, but the simple fact of the matter is, what he wants to do isn't good enough. It's not been good enough since 2 years ago. The FA Cup was a blindside to everybody, because we didn't deserve to win that, but we did anyway. And if you're looking after how he went on to play, it's been dross. It's been absolute crap. We have no plan. We still haven't got a plan. We're still trying to figure out whether we should be playing 3 at the back or 4 at the back. 2 seasons into it, or 2.5 seasons into his tenure. And if that's the case, then he needs to get shipped out.
And this is the thing, because it's taken you a while. I've been listening, very with a lot of glee. But at the end of the day, right, like, it's just from top to bottom, it's just, I wouldn't say rotten, but from top to bottom, it's just it seems to be a lot of incompetence there. Yes, you are making all these signings and you're spending money in the transfer window, but you just don't know what to do with these guys. And the thing is, like you're saying, Arteta, right? Arteta's coming from the, you know what? Arteta's Pep's protege, right? All he's taken from Pep is the fact that he makes inexplicable decisions. That's all he's really seemed to have taken from Pep. Nothing tactically, nothing technically. It's just really terrible decision making. Because if you look at what they're like on the pitch, they're just all over the gaff. The fact that I knew they were going to lose to Brentford, like when they played Brentford, I just said, because of they're more organized. And the fact I knew all the games they were going to lose to a well-organized team beats Arsenal all day long, right? But you have the personnel to actually do some stuff, to be challenging for top 4, really. Yeah. When realistically, Arsenal have the personnel to be. You can have, and I said this on DD Footy Factory on Saturday. You've got that Pepe, Lacazette, and Aubameyang as the front three. When Pepe joined, I was like, these lot are gonna bang goals. But where are these man now, though? Like, you're not doing anything. You haven't scored a goal all season. Granted, there's COVID and stuff with a couple of them, but you've got Odegaard, you've got
Orba's back, Lacazette's back, Pepe's been there.
Yeah, you've got a midfield. The thing is, Granit Xhaka, right, is actually a very good player, except only for his country. Only for his country.
He's not.
No, he's only for his country. No, he's technically very, very good. But
but he's not good.
He's very poor for Arsenal. Very poor club-wise.
No.
I'm telling you, yeah.
I rebuke that.
He's look what he was doing in the Euros. Do you understand? He just
it's one game against France, and I understand the opposition and what he done in that game. But bro, don't let him pull the wool over your eyes.
But the thing is, if you can do it,
if he can pull a performance out of his ass, one game in the international window, that doesn't tell me that he completely play.
If you have the ability to do it, you can do it anywhere, right? If you have the ability to, but he chooses not to. He just decides to go studs up every single game in the Prem.
But he's captain. Right? I don't care.
Right?
No, I'm not even hearing the vice captain nonsense either. He's captain of this club, whether it's Auber or not. He's captain.
Yeah,
he is.
He's poor. You should. And the thing is, to hand him a new contract is crazy.
No, handing him the new contract is fine. Giving him a pay rise, that's ludicrous.
Well, to be honest, keep it. I wouldn't. If this was Spurs, we wouldn't be wanting him at the club.
No, I don't want him at the club.
Getting
But the
rid-
thing is, we wanted to sell him
condone a
for
new contract for this guy.
24 million. We wanted to sell him for 24 million. And when Roma offered us 18, we said, haha, no. Why are we laughing at that? 18 million for Granit Xhaka.
Sell him.
Out the door.
Sell him. But that's your own fault. And again, it's your own fault. It's your own fault for paying Ozil $350 a week. It's your own fault for buying William on a free and paying him so much money. It's your own fault, right? You're the architects. The top echelons of Arsenal, the architects of their own downfall. Right, you can't feel sorry for them because again, like the Harry Kane thing, their man signed on the dotted line, time and time again. Right, you brought in an inexperienced manager who's bitten off more than he can chew. It's just another Lampard. That's what it is. Just because he's come from the Pep school doesn't mean he doesn't need to cut his teeth elsewhere. Right, Arsenal, a club of Arsenal stature needs somebody with experience, needs somebody who can steady the ship. And rebuild and guide them to where you believe they're supposed to be. I don't want them to be there at all, but you know, at the end of the day, from a footballing perspective, guide them where they're supposed to be. You won the Prem multiple times. You know, you won 3 FA Cups recently. At the end of the day, like it must be horrible as an Arsenal fan. It's great as a Tottenham fan, though. It must be horrible as an Arsenal fan, but you've got to do something. You know, Arteta can't last beyond Christmas, surely. He cannot last beyond Christmas. And Edu is not doing a great job either. Like, you just need a mass clear out, start again, and start with a rebuild. Or even just getting in a really good manager. And then you're going to see you rise up the table and you're just going to improve.
But Darren, the issue I have with Arsenal is this, right? Even if we bring in a good manager, it's just going to gloss over the issues we had under Wenger, because what you're going to find is that if a manager overachieves with this squad, it's going to give the board and the owner impetus not to spend money, because that's what we did with Arsene. Because Arsene kept pulling Arsenal to top 4, they were like, well, if you can continue doing this, we don't really need to go and spend more money. Whereas now they're forced to because the situation is so bad. Whereas if you bring in a good manager who now overachieves and maybe is finishing 3rd or 4th, Arsenal don't have the ambition to say, let's actually spend money to go and to win a title. It's like, well, you know, let's buy him the bare minimum because we know that he can do a good job, which is what they tried to do with Emery, which is why they brought in Emery. They brought him in to coach the players so that they don't have to spend masses fixing that club. Things got worse to the point where it's like, oh, we're so far behind, we now have to spend. And if we bring in a good manager, because the structure upstairs is so bad, they're going to revert back to what they were doing under Wenger. It's like, we just buy the bare minimum and this manager can work wonders for us. That's my fear with Arsenal.
This is where I disagree with you. If we're getting top 4, then I don't see why we can complain. Obviously, you want us to be challenging.
I wouldn't complain, but the thing is that, because think about what teams do. With Chelsea, when they finished, I think, 4th under Lampard, they weren't happy with that. They went out and spent money and said, we need to buy a team that can challenge and win Europe, and they won Europe the next season. United finished 2nd. They weren't happy with that. They're like, we need to spend money to try and win a title. Same as, you know, City lost in the Champions League final. They've gone and spent 100 million on Grealish. Obviously, Liverpool, I'm not sure what's going on with Liverpool, to be honest. They seem to stagnated a bit. But then obviously those clubs finishing 3rd or 4th isn't an achievement. Whereas with Arsenal, if they finish 3rd or 4th, everyone else is going to rebuild and spend money. But Arsenal going to see, well, we can do it again, doing the bare minimum. And that's we could slide back down. And that's
here's my rebuttal to that, though. My rebuttal is it took Chelsea getting out of the top 4 for them to get into this project rebuild. It took Manchester United getting out the top 4 to reinstate this project rebuild. And now they've maintained the standards. They keep on building, they keep on adding on top. I understand Kroenke is not an ambitious man. But top 4 isn't a bad and top 4 and winning cups isn't bad for Arsenal. I don't think it is. Obviously, you want us and I want us to be winning championships, but it's a very hard thing to do. And I feel like if we were to win a championship, it would be an anomaly. It wouldn't be something that we can continue to build on and win back to back or win multiple championships in 3 or 5 years. It would be an anomaly. It'd be one and done. But if we manage to get a good manager in with this side and get top 4, I'm happy with that.
Listen, I'll be happy, but my thing is about maintaining that, because you look at even Tottenham, for example, they got top 4, and what happened the season after? Out of it. And
this team is young enough and they've got quality enough. I'm sorry, but
mm,
I think a team, well, maybe not Burton Leno, let's not start there. I think a team with Tomiyasu, Ben White, Gabriel, or Saliba, who's a left back, Kieran Tierney, Thomas Partey, Lokonga, Odegaard, Aubameyang, Pepe, Saka, or Emil Smith Rowe. That's a team that can maintain top four football, in my opinion.
fair enough, I think so too. But my only fear is, like I said, we're in a place now where clubs are strengthening. Clubs aren't resting on. Like, you look at how many signings Chelsea made this season. Chelsea could have easily gone into the season with what they had last season, because for me it was good. It's still good enough. But they're like, no. And obviously, when other teams see that, it's like, okay, maybe we need to react and make sure we strengthen adequately so that they don't run away with it. Can Arsenal do that? My only issue with that is because it's so competitive now, even with Leicester making signings, it's easy for you to be there one day and slide back down. And I don't want to use Tottenham as an example, Darren, but as we've seen with Tottenham, they were there and they're sliding back down because everyone else is investing and they're stalling.
And we didn't. Yeah, that is right. That's correct. We didn't build on what we had. You see, that's the difference between, say, like us, Arsenal, and Liverpool. Liverpool got to Champions League final, lost, built upon it, and then won the league. And then the Champions League got up, and subsequent to that, we didn't do that. And look where we are now. Arsenal ain't done it. Look where they are now. Like, it's not rocket science. That's the thing. It's not actually rocket science. And that's what gets me is that teams like ours, and I'm not saying we're kindred spirits or anything like that. I'm just going to say, but right, teams like ours have made really crazy decisions. You watch everybody build. You look at Leicester, like, for instance, look at Leicester. Leicester keep building, and they make some very shrewd signings, and they don't spend a whole lot of money, right? They don't spend a whole lot in comparison to what they're getting. Tottenham didn't do that. I think we're the thing is, the difference is between us and Arsenal is that we're turning the corner where that's concerned, because Paratici and Noon and I say Steve Hitchin, but Paratici is starting to do that, making some very shrewd signings, not spending too much. But Arsenal weren't doing any of that at all. Was Ben White shrewd? Ramsdale wasn't shrewd. No. You've just told me that Ben White's only 6 foot. Like, I mean, I know I'm being a bit highest here, but as Arsenal, what Arsenal need in their back line is some height, some top class centre backs with height. If you look at a Brentford, for instance, right, they've got I cannot remember the guy's name, but they've got Pontus Jansson and they've got what's my man's name? Too long throw-ins, tall brother of Dulwich Hamlet. His name I can't remember right now. The black brother at the back, right? Yeah, that's not the tip of my tongue. I've been talking his name the whole entire time as well. But you've got if you look at their centre back, like, they got 3 at the back. They're super tall, super athletic, super strong. Like, and that's why Arsenal get, like, for instance, little things like standard things like getting done in the air all the time. So instead you sign a 6 foot centre back rather than a 6'4" centre back. It can make all the difference. You could have got, what is it, Vestergaard and somebody else for the price you paid for Ben White.
We could have kept Saliba as well, but it is what it is. Anyway, we must move on from Arsenal. We've got 3 more teams to go, but we'll just get one person on each. So I'll go to you, Darren T. Let's talk about Manchester City's transfer window. Not many in, not many out, but obviously the big transfer of the window was Jack Grealish. Obviously, £100 million went to Manchester City. Has that improved this Manchester City squad, or is it just another player with a similar stature that's gone to City?
I kind of think, I'm not gonna lie, I kind of are on the latter. I'm leaning towards the latter. The thing is, like, don't get me wrong, Jack Grealish is a great player, he's a very good player, but you've got all that already. It's just like, you're just being greedy now, isn't it? Because you've got a Gundogan, you've got a Bernardo Silva, you've got a Foden, Mahrez, you've got Sterling. Like, I can't see how much Jack Grealish is going to add to what is already quality. What you didn't do is sign a striker. That is where Man City needed to build, and I think that's going to cost them the league, and it's going to cost them the Champions League this season, because of the fact that they didn't have they haven't got a recognized number 9 there. You know, even though Aguero's getting older, selling him is still, I thought, was still a mistake, especially now. You know, all they had to do is give 150 million over to Levy. Levy would have considered selling Harry Kane. He didn't do that. I think they may wait for Haaland next season. Just monitor him and see what are they going to do, what he's going to do this season. But at the end of the day, like, it's not. I don't think they had an amazing transfer window personally, because they didn't strengthen where they really needed to strengthen, which is up front.
Stan, we go to Chelsea with you. Also, not many players in. They got 3. So obviously, Romelu Lukaku came in, £103 million. Saul Niguez on a loan, and Marcus Bettinelli. I didn't even know they signed him, but they have indeed. Outs: Tammy Abraham, Kurt Zouma, Tomori as well. That was last season, but Tammy Abraham's obviously the big one. £36 million they made. Is Lukaku enough for them to win the league?
Yeah. I mean, this version of Lukaku anyway. He's come back more determined. I'm scared for when we face them, because he definitely has a lot to prove against us. But I mean, I feel like our backline will be ready for that. But in terms of that missing piece, I think Lukaku was it. In terms of getting Saul Niguez, it adds to the squad. I don't know if they needed him, but you know, he's there. My brother was super upset about that because he thought he was coming to Man United or whatever. And in terms of the outgoings, yeah, Tammy had to go because, you know, obviously when you bring someone like Lukaku in, it's impossible. And obviously the way that Chelsea played, they only play one up top really. Well, they play 3, but Tammy can't play on the left or the right. Yeah. He has to play through the middle. That weren't going to happen. I must admit, I was a little bit surprised about the Zouma transfer. I thought they would keep him there, personally. Was quite surprised about that, but, you know, they have their reasons for that. Tomori, I think he's a talent, but obviously didn't get a chance to really prove himself at Chelsea. Fair enough. But, yeah, I think the balance and what Chelsea have, it's enough. I don't think they will retain their title in terms of Champions League, but in terms of the Premier League at the moment, I see them and Man City, and then I see us and Liverpool kind of tussling for 3rd and 4th. So we'll see what happens.
I'll say this just to what Stanley said quick. I think probably Chelsea have the best squad in the Premier League in terms of how many players they can rotate, the quality of players they can rotate within the squad to cover them from being tired. I think with City just have like a well-oiled machine. So everyone knows the system. But I think Chelsea can play around with their squad a bit more with the amount of they have, which is why I think they brought in Saul. It's more just cover ourselves from when midfielders get tired, and we can still put in someone who's of a quality into that midfield.
Yeah,
it's crazy that he's back up at Chelsea, but he was going to go and make Liverpool's midfield 10 times better. Let's go into Liverpool though. Not many signings in. I think it was just Konate that they got in. He came in injured as well. FSG and the Kroenkes. Which one's worse, Basil?
Definitely Kroenkes. At least FSG have made some good signings in the past. I think what it is that they're resting on the laurels. They've spent money. They've built a squad, and it's like, you know, let's keep the squad until their legs fall off. That seems to be their strategy. Whereas the smart teams, they start saying, well, the players are aging a bit. Let's refresh a bit. Let's bring in players who can also learn from these top quality players while they're still performing, and then embed them in. So at least then when, you know, when the quality level starts to decrease, we have the players who've been there for maybe about a year or two. They can now come in and take over and transition well. I think that's where, you know, Liverpool are sort of getting it wrong. At the moment, they still have the quality to still challenge and maybe win things. But then at the same time, you are concerned about, one, the age of the players, and two, some of the injury problems they've had over the last year or two. I mean, someone like Mane, he's not performing well. And there's no one's really replacing. Someone like Firmino's not performing well. They brought in Jota, who can sort of operate on the left and the right. But I think their midfield for me is the most concerning thing of it all.
Yeah, they didn't replace Ronaldo.
Yeah, they've got rid of Wijnaldum. For me, I still don't rate Henderson as a good midfielder. Ability-wise, I think he does well for what Liverpool want them to do. But ability-wise, he's just not good on the ball at all. And then you're looking around, Thiago is still finding his feet. But then apart from that, who else is there? So, and as you said, when these guys get injured, who can deputize in those positions? I think I like Fabinho, but then the issue with Fabinho is that when defenders get injured, he deputizes in the defense. So then you lose a midfielder when that happens. So I think not buying a midfielder or two may come and cost Liverpool in the long run over the season.
I think we shall leave it there for our transfer roundup. Thank you guys for joining us. Thank you guys for listening and watching. But let's end it up with telling them where they can find you. Start with you, Darren T.
Yeah, on Twitter at Mr. Darren T, as you can see on there. And that's it for me.
That's it for Darren. Basil, where can they find you?
You can find me at bjacobs14. Less football tweets because it's a devastating time for me at this moment.
There's a lot of F1 and F1 and tennis for you. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, F1 and tennis because I can't enjoy my football.
Stanley, where can they find you?
They can find me on sk.arusi on Instagram. Yeah, I'm there. Hit me up.
Coach Goja, where can they find us?
You can find us here. Big shout out, Big One, and everyone else in the comments as well, of course. And you can find us here on YouTube.
At OnlyFans. You can find Kojo at OnlyFans. OnlyFans.com/coach Kojo. Sorry, who said that?
That's alleged.
But lie to you, it's true though. Like you before you came in with bad confidence back what you're wearing before. Oh no, who the hell you thought you were, man?
I was feeling it, man.
You need to come in with one of them wrestling dressing gowns next time. One of them,
Ric Flair, boy.
Yeah, something like that.
Or what D'Lo Brown used to wear that type of.
Hey,
he looked like that as well.
Like enough of that nonsense, man. Don't chuck a shirt. What's wrong with you?
Yeah, you gotta come. If you're gonna wear a dressing gown, coach, come in one of those ones, man, and do the D'Lo Brown walk as well.
Yeah, man.
Do that. Yeah, do all of that, bro. Yeah, and if you put that on OnlyFans, the content, your subscribers are going through the roof, mate.
Absolutely. But now, Gojo, where can they find us?
Here on YouTube, 3inMidfield Podcast. All the audios, TikTok, Instagram as well, 3inMidfield Podcast. Or 3inMidfield, rather, I should say. That's about it. 3inMidfield me.
That is about it. Thank you guys for joining, and good night.